Oh, we tell him hi. Okay. All right. You tell him hi for me too. Marlboro County Board of Trustees meeting, Monday, August 7th, 2017, is called to order. There has been notification of the news media. Mr. Woods, would you please have an invocation for us?
Shall we pray? Dear God, as we come, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity of giving us to come to share and talk about Marlboro County School District business. God, we ask you right now to let your divine Holy Spirit to lead us and to guide us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And next we need approval of the agenda. Would someone please make such a motion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Fleming?
according to Chapter 30, Freedom of Information Act, Section 30-4-80, an agenda must be regularly scheduled for a special meeting, must be posted on the bulletin board in a public accessible place at the office of the meeting place or a public body on a public website maintained by the body. This was not done for this meeting today. I went by the district office and I came to the high school. It was not done. So this is not a legal meeting.
Mr. Childs.
Ms. Fleming makes a good point. You know, the last meeting that we attended, we recognized or had to acknowledge that the agenda had not been posted on the district web page. But you can see there's a substantial crowd in the audience who's come here tonight to hear this meeting. And I think you could take note, and I think a court would take judicial note, that we've had a change in personnel, and I don't know whose responsibility it was to post the agenda and so forth, but that's probably the explanation for why it didn't occur. And so it was on the website, but not on the district or the front door of this building?
That's correct.
It was on the 24th because I personally posted it, an additional copy,
I'm talking
just
about
to be sure.
tonight's meeting.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that this was an honest, inadvertent mistake, we should...
Among many.
Well, that may or may not be. I just am dealing with the issue that's before us tonight. It was an honest, inadvertent mistake.
So you're saying that it's okay to have an illegal meeting tonight?
Ms. Fleming.
I'm not saying that the meeting is illegal.
We didn't follow procedures.
I gave a rational explanation. I agree with you that it should have been posted at the district office. It should have been posted on this on the door of this building, the front door of this building. The decision to whether to go forward with the meeting or not is up to the board, not the attorney. My job is to give advice. I think that the fact that it was not posted, this meeting has been posted early in the year because this is a regular meeting. This board meets every first Monday, do they not?
I'm talking about the agenda.
Well,
we know when it meets.
Okay.
I would like to pose a thought here. If it was not on there, we could possibly have to post a guard from the time the agenda was put out until the time of a meeting, if this is the way we intend to do business. And I don't believe this district has the money to post a guard to maintain the agendas on 2 doors.
Well, you know, to quote...
You're talking about the district office, which is right uptown, and you're talking about the school, which is over 1,100 people in this building, and I don't see any vandalism that would be a problem, just a piece of paper on the door. I don't see a problem with that. It just wasn't done, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Well, and the question I have is, when did it come to your attention that this was not done?
When I checked it to see.
Okay.
This morning.
And did you contact anyone?
No, ma'am. It was too late to do it because
so
the 24
you participated in the not having it on the door?
No, I did not. I had other business to take care of, and it wasn't there. We're not. Whatever I was doing was my business. What this board did not do you didn't do what you're supposed to do, so whatever I was doing was Nan Fleming's business.
Well, of course, but in fairness, if a mistake was made, it was an honest, inadvertent mistake. There's the concept, and to quote the late Oliver Wendell Holmes, he said, the law is not a gloomy omnipresence. And I think that any error here is de minimis. If the board chooses to go forward with the meeting, I think you can do so, and we'll have to accept the consequences. The media is here, obviously, and it's a decision up to the board, but I think there's very minimal risk in going forward under these circumstances. And I'm sure that Dr. Lane was not aware of this, and we'll take care that in the future all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed as far as notification.
And certainly a huge body of people knew the meeting was taking place.
So we got one or two choices, right? We can either have the meeting tonight, or we can repost it tomorrow and come back Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes. You didn't follow procedures. That's all. I just want to point out.
Either way we do it.
The procedure wasn't followed. Law was not followed. Do you feel better now?
I felt good before I started. I always feel good.
So would someone please make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second? All in favor, please raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The motion's carried. All opposed? I'm sorry, Ms. Bright, I didn't see you had voted. So 6. And let me call the names out. Raise your hands again. Mr. Branch, Ms. Bright, Mr. Driggers, Ms. Parsons, Mr. Norton, and Ms. Owen Nation are voting in favor of the agenda. All those opposed, please raise your hands.
I'm just abstaining because I don't know if it's legal or not, so I'll abstain.
All right. So Ms. Fleming and Mr. Woods, are you voting against?
I'm abstaining.
All right. Ms. Fleming is voting against. Mr. Woods and Mr. Coachman are abstaining. The motion is carried. Next, we have approval of minutes for June 22nd, 2017. Would someone please make a motion?
Madam Chairman, could I make a correction to the minutes?
Yes, ma'am. Does anybody have an extra pencil?
It's not a major correction, but it could be. This is on the 22nd, right? June 22nd? Third page, Ms. Parsons asked a question, and then it says Reverend Fleming spoke up and said it is like Mr. Coachman said. I believe that should be Reverend Woods. Am I correct on that? Unless Nan's been ordained. If you could make that change,
Where's
please.
that at? Where you reading at?
Second sentence, where it says Reverend Fleming spoke up and said it is like Mr. Coachman said. It's the third page of the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I think that she meant to say Reverend Woods.
Right.
Okay. On the 22nd. I think that's it. I couldn't understand this, and it may just be me. This is on third page from the back of that one. Go to the end of it and come back to 3 pages. It says Cleo sent a curriculum person to Mrs. King's because the reconfiguration added all those 5th graders. I'm wondering if that's Cleo, and is it maybe Miss Kane? I'm not sure. And that's about 1, 2, third paragraph down, last sentence in that paragraph. This was in regarding to the new position, so I'm asking that question. Debbie, can you find that?
I'm quite sure.
This
it's
was
Clio.
regarding the 4 new assistant principals.
I'm quite sure it's Clio.
Yeah.
Ms. Clio?
And sent a curriculum person to Mrs. King's because the reconfiguration added all those 5th graders. So I don't know. Is that Miss Kane, perhaps, the principal, or what?
I don't know. Do you want us to postpone these minutes?
Well, I think that can be changed if she'll check it. I don't need to postpone it. If she'll just correct that.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Ms. Pearson, are you catching all of this? Okay. I guess check with Ms. Owenation. And
We're only approving those minutes at this time, right?
just those minutes at this time. Are y'all ready to call for the question? Call for the question.
I call for the question.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. And all opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Ms. Bright? All right. The only negative votes, or not negative, but there were 2 abstentions, Ms. Fleming and Ms. Bright. All right, but the motion is carried. Approval of minutes for July 10th, 2017. Are there any changes?
Madam Chairman, I'm sorry to be picky,
Yes.
but I think that on page 1, Mr. Franklin Harley spoke to the board at some length, and I think his name should be spelled correctly. It's Haley. It should be Harley. And wherever that comes up, if that would make that change.
All right. Are we ready to vote on those?
On page 4,
Okay.
discussion of the budget. Mr. Park, when he can revamp the budget based on the addition to the leg force, I don't know if that's supposed to be workforce or what that's supposed to be.
Okay. Do you know what that is, Ms. Morris?
I have to look at it. I'll have it.
And those are basically very simple things to correct.
All right.
So I'll move we approve the minutes for that date with
July
those
10th.
corrections.
All right,
July
all in
10th.
favor? Oh, it's second. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. And all opposed?
Abstention.
Ms. Bright? All right, the same, everyone voted for except for Ms. Fleming and Ms. Bright, who are abstaining. All right, July 24th.
There are some changes, Madam Chair,
Yes,
which I
all right.
think these are important. Under the, under D on page 1, the motion that I made about taking it under advisement, and they asked all named or interested parties, the word parties is left out,
Okay.
to respond in writing. And a little bit further down, in about the 4th or 5th sentence, it says, the decision to hear a grievance is, she's got discussionary. It should be discretionary.
Discretionary.
On page 2 and throughout the rest of it, about midway down, the word mute, M-U-T-E, should be moot, M-O-O-T. And that's on page 2 and 3. And midway down on page 3, there's a phrase, the chairman of the board says, don't worry about this. Then that's the acquisition, and a very serious one, that should be, that's the accusation, and that's a quote from Hemphill Pride. And then on page 4, the word principal should be P-R-I-N-C-I-P-L-E-S, not P-A-L-S.
What, we giving a spelling lesson?
Nope. That's important, the difference between principles and principles.
It's a whole different thing.
No, it's not.
All right, number 5. Now this gets down to some meat here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Driggers. There's a phrase here that states at the bottom of page 5 that you called for the question. I think you asked if it's time to call for the question, and that I actually made the motion to call the question. Did your memory serve you well on that? Okay.
That's correct.
And that happened 2 or 3 times on the next page, and again, I made the motion.
All right. That's it?
Yep.
Okay. Are we ready to vote for that? Someone make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of July 24th with the corrections.
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed?
I'm abstaining.
All right, so, and which are you?
I'm opposing.
You're opposing. All right, let's do this again. Raise your right hand if you're in favor of the motion. So Mr. Coachman, Mr. Branch, Ms. Owenation, Mr. Norton, Mr. Driggers, and Ms. Parsons are in favor. And opposed, please. Ms. Fleming, Mr. Woods, Ms. Bright. The motion carries. So that's done. All right, individuals or groups who wish to appear before the board, and we have quite a number of them tonight. We're going to stick very clearly to the 3-minute rule so we can get on with the budget. Let me get the thing going here. All right, Mr. Keith Brewington, I don't know what the subject is, but you signed up. Mr. Brewington.
Good evening, Chairman Parsons and board. As she stated, I'm Keith Brewington, a concerned citizen. Just a few moments ago, while you were opening up, we were talking about the cost of posting a guard on duty for an agenda when we let go of efficient, not let go, but have sidelined an efficient superintendent that has brought many resources to our county and has improved yearly upon her arrival. We want her back. We don't want her sitting on the sideline. We don't have money to pay her to sit on the sideline, just like we don't have money to pay to post a guard for agenda. It's ridiculous to have a efficient superintendent sitting on the sideline being paid instead of functioning when the agenda would have been posted if she'd have been on duty. I was looking at the principles of Bulldog pride. I am prepared, the P. I am responsible for my own actions, the R. I incorporate integrity daily, the I. D. I display appropriate behavior. E. I earn and give respect. We haven't given the superintendent respect. The board has not given the superintendent respect. The board needs to respect the superintendent that we have and not put her on administrative leave, reinstate her so that she can go on about the business of keeping this school board, this district moving forward. Timmonsville just recently failed their reaccreditation. Marlboro County passed its reaccreditation. We have what we need. We need the board to work with. There's no even mention of why she was put on administrative leave. If the board could give me and the audience reason why she was put on administrative leave, then maybe I would feel differently. But I know that she comes to different events for the little ones. I have a stand-up. 8 and a 9-year-old, she comes to their events, their little things when they have them. She goes to special events. They had an art program here with so much talent that we have in this district. It's unbelievable. She's always present, always encouraging her staff, always encouraging the youth, looking out for the safety of the youth. We need Dr. Tiller back full duty and not on administrative leave. It's too costly to me as a taxpayer and the other taxpayers in here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brewington. Mr. John Jefferson, paying school tax.
Good evening, everyone. I am John Jefferson, and my problem is that I don't live here in Marlboro County. I don't do anything here in Marlboro County. I don't have any kids in school. And I hear everyone talk, like the gentleman that just said, about paying someone to be on administrative duty. Hey, I'm paying you all the time on administrative duty, because I don't have a kid here. All I'm asking is, how do I benefit from paying school tax? And don't talk about raising it again. If the man don't want to raise it, ask him to sit down to me personally and tell me why. Do you have a reason? And Mr. Coachman, I tried to talk to you earlier, and you also said that, I told you I live in Chesterfield County, which you know, and you said that I have made it Chesapeake County and Marlboro County. I'm going to explain something to you. All right, I'm paying for these kids to go to school, your kids. When we was in 115-degree heat working, I was still paying for your kids. I didn't have any kids over here. I never complained until something came up one time to put me in the business of looking to see what I'm benefiting from the taxes that I'm paying. And when the kids go to school, they get out, I have nothing against all that. They leave here, they go to college, get a degree. I have nothing against that. They go off and make $5, $6 million. They may send you $1 million back. But what do I get? I get to pay for the kids right on.
Well, since you're posing the question to me, everybody in Marlboro County pay taxes.
I'm not
If
talking
you
about
own land
everybody.
in
I'm talking
Marlboro
about
County,
me.
you're going to pay taxes.
I don't have nothing to do with everybody else. I'm talking about me. Answer the question for me, not for everybody else. I'm not talking about everybody else.
This man own land in Marlboro County, don't live here, and don't want to pay taxes. Everybody who own land in any state going to pay taxes.
How do they benefit?
They got
If you
their own
tell me what
property.
they're going to do, you should be able to tell me how they
Your benefit is you own the property by paying taxes.
Every time the tax value go up, you jack the property
I pay
value.
taxes too.
Coachman.
You got kids? No, let him talk. Let him talk. He gonna get himself in deep. You don't know who he's talking to. When we used to work together,
I worked with you for 20 years. I know you.
Yeah, you know me, but you didn't know me like you know me now. You didn't know me like
Ain't
this.
nothing changed.
Yeah, in your eyes ain't nothing changed. You ain't never seen nothing about me. That's the problem. You enjoy stealing my money. That's what the problem is. You enjoy it.
No, they're not yet, but they will be.
Yeah, you give me 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes to explain it. When there are 10 of you up there, you have a whole month to sit down and talk about it. Amongst all of you, at 3.5 minutes, how many hours is it? Multiply it up. You give me 3.5 minutes a month against all those hours a month to talk to you. And I explain to you. I explain to you, and if you can't understand, there's a problem somewhere in the board. And I don't want the board, I don't want no one to take this personally. I'm not talking to you personally. I'm talking to you indirect, but I'm talking to the
Mr.
board.
Jefferson, your time is up. Thank you very much
I'll
for
come back
coming.
next month and to explain to you in a different way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Charles Graham, who wants to speak about Bennettsville Intermediate School.
Good evening, board chair and board members. Again, I come to you this month to bring up the issue of racial divide. As I spoke to the board last meeting when my time was up, board chair, you banged on the table when my time was up. When the gentleman before me went over his time, you applauded him and allowed him to continue to speak. When we had a special call meeting last time, it was canceled because Ms. Shonazin wasn't here. After you got out of the executive session, it was talked about having another special call meeting. Mr. Woods and several others said they couldn't attend, and y'all said that we'll put it on the table. Special call meeting came up. Reverend Woods wasn't able to attend. Still, we carried on with the agenda. After my next issues, BIS schools. After the July 4th holiday, staff at the cafeteria at Bennettsville Elementary School had to clean green algae, since it's not mold, out of the cafeteria. Weeks later, in classrooms that were filled with the same green algae, which is not mold. It's disturbing for us to talk about Dr. Tiller's contract, but not this issue. Is anyone on the board willing to tell the parents that their kids are safe and have nothing to worry about as they go back to school next week? Will the cleaning help? The AMI kids out of school that wasn't functioning properly when the elementary kids left. These kids matter too. If these issues are so important and it's about the kids, why haven't any board members from Bennettsville held any forums to talk about the issues that concern our kids going to these schools? We don't have enough money to build a school, but we have enough money to pay this lawyer and pay out the superintendent. Why would anybody want to come here as a superintendent when every time we have a disagreement, all we talk about is getting rid of them or buying them out? Man, as far as like the board, they can't come together. We talking about Dr. Tiller and different things that we need to do. The board members as 9 can't come together themselves. How do we really expect as a community for this thing to move forward if these board members as 9 people can't sit down amongst each other and hash out some differences where all this don't even have to come about. School getting ready to start up. As citizens, we're out here now to discuss the board meeting. Some of these issues, seriously, y'all, we're not going to be able to change right now. But our kids, as citizens, and if this is our community, it's up to us to do this. And it's up to us, when it's time to vote, we pay them too. As I look out here, many people that sit out here, they're teachers. They did a survey, and 70-some% of the survey said the parents wanted to keep their kids.
Mr. Graham, your time is up. Please sit down.
70%.
Mr. Graham, your time is up.
I ask you, as a
Mr. Graham, your time is up.
and take care of
Mr. Graham, your time is up. Ms. Brittany Jones? Yes. Mr. Driggers? Brittany Jones.
Hold on one second, ma'am. You know, stay there. I hope you
time
understand
has
the
not
reason
finished.
there's a 3-minute time limit is so the next person that has a view, they can express their view also. It's not something against you. It's so everybody has an opportunity to speak. That's what the 3-minute time limit is. That's all. I just want to make sure everybody understood what that was. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Driggers. Ms. Jones.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chairman, Mr. Superintendent, and board members. My name is Brittany Jones, and I'm the president of the Marlboro Chamber of Commerce. In light of recent events, I felt it was necessary to address you on behalf of our members, the business community, and most importantly, the students of Marlboro County. When I say business community, I want to make sure that you guys understand that that includes you. Not because you guys are members of the Marlboro Chamber of Commerce, but because you are the second largest employer in our community and the most important business in our community. The product you create is priceless because you shape the minds of the children. The school district is the keystone to the success of our community. You're tasked with hiring district leadership, overseeing budgets, and setting policy on a wide range of issues. And if our students don't succeed, then our businesses don't succeed. And if our businesses don't succeed, if our students don't succeed, our businesses don't have skilled workers to hire. And our realtors and economic development have no selling point to attract new residents and new businesses. And we lose our sense of community because, as we see, the people who are employed here don't live here. But we understand that this job is not yours alone. As the previous speaker just said, it takes the combined effort of our community, our parents, our teachers, and our local businesses to support and assist our students to achieve success. And our business community is willing to do their part in whatever we can do. I'm here to encourage you to seek ways to promote community involvement and discussion where it concerns education. We want to know what our schools need and how we can help. Our teachers and administrators can't do it alone. We look for you to guide us. I'm asking that you come together and give us some kind of plan for what we can do to assist you. I personally, as I am with any other organization and any other person out here, am willing to discuss ideas and assist in any way that I can. Thank you for your time, continued hard work for our students in Marlboro County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones, for your time. Thank you. Let's see. Is this Renee Smith? Renee Smith? All right. And you want to speak about race?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, board, citizens. I'm Rena Smith from the Concerned Citizens. Over the past several months, there seems like there's become an issue with race on this board. Whites against blacks, blacks against whites. On the last board meeting, it seemed like there maybe was a meeting or something before the meeting because all of the whites voted one way and all of the blacks didn't even know what was going on. They would seem like they was blindsided on what was going on. It's becoming an issue, and because of that, because of that issue, that race issue, the board is not doing what it's supposed to do. That's taking care of the needs of our children and then taking care of the needs of our children and doing their duties to the citizen of Marlboro County.
All right.
Some members of this board has become obsessed, going from law firm to law firm, spending thousands and thousands of taxpayer dollars trying to get rid of the superintendent, which is why y'all did it. But in order, it's the thing about now, that money could have been used to clean up schools, possibly build a new school, making our schools safe for the children of Marlboro County. The board needs to come together, stop all this fighting, and do what they need to do for the citizens and the kids of Marlboro County. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jamel Chalmers, and she wants to speak on parental concerns.
Good evening. This will probably be my last time addressing the board. Addressing the board has proven fruitless. Now I'm going to be addressing your constituents. You do know who those people are. Those are the people who elected you. Those will be the people that I'll be addressing from now on. You have turned Marlboro County School District into a laughingstock in this region, if not the entire state of South Carolina, with this foolishness that has gone on. Now you have opened up the district for litigation and possible financial peril due to your power plays and personal vendettas. And when the dust settles, the only people that will have paid the price is the children, faculty, staff, and taxpayers of Marlboro County. And by the way, you still need to remedy the bus situation in McCall when the School of Discovery students, when McCall is in intercession, because when McCall is out of school, the School of Discovery students don't have a ride to school.
Thank you. I cannot read this. Eddie to something. Is there an Eddie? Oh, Davis. Oh, I know you, but I don't know your handwriting.
It's sloppy. Please forgive me.
Sorry.
Madam Chairperson.
Speak on supporting the school for the betterment of the community, of the children. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much for this time, Madam Chairperson and school board members. I think that my two members, Brother Brewington and Brother Graham, has stressed our concern at the Community of Grace Church about what has transpired over the recent weeks. So we, along with some other concerned ministers, pastors in Marlboro County, have asked me to serve you board members notice that we cannot do anything about it now. But we are working hard to make a shift during the next election. Please, ma'am, please, sir, do not underestimate us. Don't think we're lazy, don't think we're slowful, don't think we don't care. What you have done is woke up a sleeping giant, and the giant is ready to conquer. God bless you. Heaven smile upon you. It is our prayer.
Reverend Davis, Reverend Davis, Reverend Davis, Reverend Davis. One quick question, one quick thing for you. While you're waking up all the citizens, get the parents woke up a little bit too, sir, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me say this to you, Mr. Jerkin. We have pastors gotten together and we've discussed it and talked. Pastor Cloud, please say, we've talked about it, and we're going to work with our congregation. We know that the civil rights movement started in the church, and by the grace of God, we're going to inherit our great-great-great-great-grandparents' courage and start a movement in Marlboro County.
We don't need civil rights, we need an education movement.
And you can take that All right, let's everybody settle down again. Ms. Helen Hayes. Ms. Hayes, you didn't list what you wanted to speak about.
Okay, just concerned citizens, citizen. Good evening.
Good evening.
Or good afternoon. The chairman of the board, members of the board, interim superintendent Dr. Lane, and to the staff that's taking notes, I am going to ask questions. I'm not making statements, so don't quote me as statements. These are asking questions, okay? Why is our superintendent, Dr. Tiller, on suspension? Is it because of the principal's lack of performance? Is it because of our children's attitude towards school? Or is it because of the way she looked? Why is it that for a number of years she has been treated not so pleasantly? Is it because of her height? Is it because of her hair? Or is it because of her skin color? Why do we have some low achieving students in Marlboro County schools? Just like all of the other South Carolina schools, we are below the average, all of South Carolina. Is it because of our school board? Is it because of our superintendent, our principals, our teachers, our parents? Do the children have that attitude? I know some of them do. I just don't care no more. Why is this? Please give me some information on these matters if you can. If not, then why isn't she here opening up another school year for 2017-2018? As I have said in the past, I see no fault in this lady. I will continue to say this until you prove me differently. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's everyone. Thank you very much. All right, individuals or groups who wish to, individual board items for the August board meeting. Items for discussion, update on the ball fields at Wallace Elementary Middle School, and that's Mr. Coachman.
No, I'll just ask Dr. Cloud, just give me an update on if you got anything.
Excuse me, Ms. Parson, you did not ask the individual, did they have anything for next agenda?
I beg your pardon?
You went by individual item for board member for the next meeting, you didn't ask anybody to have anything for the next meeting.
Board item for discussion.
I'll come back to that.
Mr. Coachman, where we are with the ball field is, I've been in contact with Mr. Joel Carter, and he's given me some direction into contacting someone to give us estimates on the cost of lighting those fields. And they're going to do a sketch of, you know, the way the lighting should be laid out. But like I said, lighting was not included in the bill of the school.
Thank you.
To clarify this for you, Mr. Woods.
No, I seen it, September. They got
Yeah,
August.
it should have been September, and since it's listed August, I just skipped over it. Y'all can get in touch with Dr. Lane and let him know what you want on there. Next is time change for high school graduation.
This one. Missed financial request. Right up on
I thought that was part of the...
No, ma'am, that's not part of it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd like to ask Mr. Parker a question. Mr. Parker, I understand that we had an audit at the district this past week.
On an annual basis, we go through a financial audit. Of course, the auditors come there, do preliminary testing, and then, of course, they come back and they prepare a report, and then they issue that typically at the December meeting.
Yeah. Now, part of the audit, what I understand is some personnel files were requested, and
well, what happens is a part of any audit, as we'll talk later, personnel costs represent about 85% of the budget, and there is a random selection that the auditors make in terms of whose compensation, whose personnel file they'll pull.
Okay. Now, I understand that part, and I also understand that there were two board members, myself and Mr. Woods, were part of the 25, but that's fine. You can audit. Okay. The only thing is, let me finish. The only thing in there is my personal information, my Social Security, my banking information, and that's fine because they ain't got no money in the bank. But my Social Security number is my Social Security number, and when they do an audit, the proper procedure is to come to the Human Resource Office to do an audit. Is that correct?
Typically what happens, Finance and Human Resources were at the district office, and so they would just walk downstairs. But because of the fact we've been moved, they did make that request because, of course, they started at the annex. And so the request was made to the HR administrative assistant, and then she brought the files, and then those files were returned, and then they came back to the district office to make that request.
So our files were moved out of the Human Resource to another location?
That is correct.
And I got a problem with that. I got a major problem with that. That my personal information been moved from one office to the next.
Now, of course, the financial auditors have the right to request any information.
No, I understand about audit, but I understand business too.
If you'd like, they'll provide you a copy of the what is called the randomizer.
I don't have a problem with you checking it, but
the selection.
I think the process, they could come to Human Resources and view those documents without leaving them, because, I mean, to go in another department, the finance department, and for our files be sitting up, 25 people's files be sitting out there unattended. With what's going on right now in the district, I don't trust the fact that my files, personal information has been moved, and someone else can get their hands on it. Say, for instance, this could possibly happen. Somebody could just pick up my banking account information and put some school board money in my account, saying I concocted with Dr. Tiller's steal some money.
The files.
I want to protect my.
The files were moved to the payroll portion of the finance office.
I understand that, but the procedures that they stay in Human Resource, that's on any job. They never move personnel file. I just don't feel comfortable with any other people in the district files being moved.
Well, we'll advise the auditors that they need to make that site visit. We try to provide information in advance, so there's time that can be taken to pull the appropriate files.
And just as a precaution, that in case something comes up, like with my personal information or my banking, I just want to put on the record that my files have been moved.
And I also want to put on the record too, because I understand how audits goes, but I want you to understand that when you're doing an audit and it comes down to personnel, when auditors come in, they go to personnel's office and look at personnel files. And for my file to be left out on a desk for I don't know how long, my Social Security number and my bank information, I want to put on record that I'm not pleased with that, and I'm going to be watching it very close with all this stuff going on in this district.
Ms. Fleming, do you want to be recognized?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Fleming.
I got this when I got in here, and I got in here about 10 to 6. The minutes is 26 pages long. I just counted them. I am not sure when some of the other board members, but I take offense that all the errors that supposedly our administrative assistants made in public, nitpicky, petty things. When did these people have time to read 26 pages of data and find nitpicky errors?
Fleming.
We do want the minutes corrected, but when you try to humiliate people publicly, I am part of this board, and I do not like.
Madam Chairman,
I'm talking. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I take exception.
Well, you can take what you want to.
I'm taking exception to it.
You have your opinion, and I have mine. You have your opinion, and I have mine.
You certainly do, and you voice it.
Folks, and I intend to, as long as I live, I'm going to voice it.
You are out of order.
I may be out of order.
Fleming,
Miss
is
D,
not on the
Miss
agenda.
Morris deserves
Mrs.
better
Fleming,
respect than this.
you are
Even the
out
worst
of
secretary
order.
deserves better respect than this. And we should,
Fleming.
I don't like being a part of humiliating
Ms.
people
Fleming.
publicly because of personal
Ms.
agendas.
Fleming, can you bring yourself under control?
I am under control all the time, Ms. Thorson.
Terrific.
I have not been in a fight since I've been 5th grade.
All right.
I just want the audience to know I don't like that. And I'm coming to.
I want the audience to know that was not my intention.
Well, it looked that way to me.
Well,
That's what it looked that way. You wanted to humiliate
Would you all
her.
please wait and take this out behind the building?
good idea.
The next item on the agenda is time, y'all please help by being quiet. Time change for high school graduation, and there's a vote needed. Mr. Branch, move ahead.
Well, I'd like to, as I discussed last month, I'd like to see about changing the time.
Okay.
I'm open for earlier or even Friday evening.
What had we decided to begin with on this? Does anybody remember?
We decided to discuss.
Yeah, well, let's discuss it. Who's got an idea?
Yeah, we first discussed Friday evening, but then after some discussion, several board members thought it might be a good idea to have it earlier on Saturday. But I mean, I personally would rather do it Friday evening, but
I think somebody mentioned that there are showers in the evening frequently. I can't remember who that was, but anyway. How hard would it be to do a poll of the graduates and their families? Would that be difficult?
well, they'd rather, the sooner the better for them.
We can do that.
Okay. Well, would that be agreeable with you if we move it to that level and let the people that are actually involved
That'll be
do it? Would you like to make a motion that that's what we're doing?
Well, I mean, I don't think we need a motion for that, do we?
Oh, let's do it anyway. It's got vote needed on there, and then we'll keep track of what we're doing.
I mean, I trust that Dr. Lane will do that, so I really, if somebody else wants to make a motion, that's fine.
All right, well, it's all tended to.
Ms. Parsons,
Yes. Mr. Morton?
this is just something to think about.
Yes.
I'm not advocating either way, but I was part of a lot of graduations. I don't think it's, number one, we tried real hard to have the graduations in the afternoon. We did have problems with the weather. And then we decided, well, we'll give tickets and we'll bring it on the inside to the gym. That didn't set horns very well either. But the other thing is, for safety of the children, I think an early morning graduation is better than a late graduation, because they're going to go places after graduation, and it would be a lot better that they do it in the mornings and during the daytime. That's just a thought. I'm not...
That rings my chime.
I'm going to be there either way. I'm just concerned as to the children's safety and the safety and the weather, because people can get hurt real quick in a thunderstorm, and they can come up in a very quickly.
Would 7:30 in the morning be doable? I think that...
I'd rather do 8.
Mr. Driggers.
I think the idea of waiting till we get into school and maybe sending out a little poll or something and getting the families and the students involved in this would be a very good idea. I mean, we do have time to plan the graduation. It does not have to be planned tonight. I think we should get them involved and let's see what the feelings are with the students and the parents. Maybe address this October, November, something like that, and we still have time to do everything and get it together, but give them opportunity to have a little input in this.
Okay. With no objection, we'll move along. Explore options for building or buying a new building. Mr. Driggers.
Yeah, that was me. I threw that one out there, and I'm not sure why Miss Fanny Heiser is here tonight, but, you know, other than what's on this board, I didn't know she was going to be here tonight. But I'm in the idea, and I think most of this board is, we know that we need some new schools. We know that we need some new building. We know that we need some work done on the ones we have. I don't know exactly how to go about this. I don't have the money in my hand. If it was my budget, I could tell you what we could do. But the budget belongs to the school district. I think we need to get Mr. Parks, Ms. Heiser, some people involved to give us some ideas on how we can come up with some funding so we can go out and update the schools, build new schools if it's possible. I don't know that that's possible. We had a gentleman here tonight complaining about taxes. There's going to be a lot more people complaining about taxes, but it may be time. We've got to review some of this stuff to see if we can do something to increase and make our schools, our buildings, our facilities run better, function better, and have our students where they can learn a little better in a better atmosphere, and that's what I'm looking for. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Ms. Heiser, if you have anything that you can share with us, I know I'm throwing it out there at you tonight off the cuff, but if you have anything you can share with us to guide us where we can move forward, I'd appreciate it. I think the board would too.
It's good to be with you all this evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. We are here for a resolution a little bit later on the agenda, but Mike Gallagher with Compass Municipal Advisors is also here, and Mike is your financial advisor, and so he'd play a large role in helping devise a plan for your facility needs. What I have seen around the state is that school districts that are successful in building community support for needed repairs, renovations, new facilities, if that's what's needed, that process generally starts with a professional review and assessment of your facility so that you have you know exactly what's needed in each facility. You at least have some estimate of what the cost would be based on the conditions. Those professionals might recommend priorities, although the priorities ultimately would always be the board's decisions. And so once you've got a plan like that you're comfortable with, so that it's not just, well, we think it's this school or we think it's this school, but you've got, you know, some data that would point out to anybody who wanted to review it that here are the facilities in the greatest need, et cetera. I think that would be a really good first step.
To be honest, we have a facility studies that we've done just recently, and we pretty much know which schools are cities that we've got to work on quicker than the other ones. We know some are that we can leave like they are, we can move on. We pretty much have that. I guess what I'm looking for is, I don't know, I'm trying to find some money.
I understand that. So if the planning part has been accomplished, then you come to the really hard part, which is how do you pay for it? Under South Carolina law, the only way you really can pay for it is through the issuance of general obligation debt. And you can issue up to your 8% constitutional debt limit, or you could go for a bond referendum, which y'all have had 2 successful bond referenda in the last several years. And if I could let Mike talk for a minute about what your 8% capacity is and how much you would have available if it was your decision to use more of that capacity than you have been in the past for building repairs and renovations.
Thank you, Franny. The 8% debt limit for the district, which is 8% of the total assessed value. The assessed value of the district is approximately $72.2 million. Total debt limit is $5.7 million, of which about $900,000 or so is used each year to make payments on your installment purchase revenue bonds that are outstanding. In this year's resolution, the resolution you'll consider later tonight, or is on your agenda for consideration later tonight, one of the components of that is about $500,000 for annual technology and maintenance. You could anticipate that, you know, at the 33 mil target, that's your directive as to, you know, what we've received is from administration and board is that you wanted to keep the debt service millage level. Obviously, that's your choice whether or not you want to maintain a levy of 33 mils, if you want it to be a number higher, or if you want it to be a number lower. If you want to change in that, please let us know. Right now, at the 33 mil target this year, you would have approximately $500,000 available for annual maintenance, technology, capital project programs. You'd have that for approximately the next 8 years, just staying right at that 33 mil target. The remaining capacity available under your debt limit outside of that program, there's about $4 million. So you sort of have to look at it as your debt limit is sort of like your credit card limit. That's the max you could go out and spend, and the other is what your monthly payments are, what your annual payments are when you look at your millage. So once you prioritize your projects and come up with an amount, we can work on coming up with a borrowing plan of how we can meet those needs.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. O'Nation? I'm sorry, Mr. Coachman, I didn't see you. Mr. Coachman, you go first.
On the 4 million, excuse me, did you want to go?
Go ahead, you go ahead.
The 500,000, like the credit card, staying at the 33 mills, are you saying that we have that available within the 33 mills at this time? We would not need to take other action in order to get that?
The 500,000 is built into the 33 mil target this year.
That's what I thought,
So
for
that
this
is
year and for 8 years hereafter.
Approximately
About
8
that.
years going
Okay.
forward is what we have included, because the direction was set a target of 30. What we do is work on, you tell us where you want things to be, and then we work in from the assumptions from there of what the value of a mill is, what your existing payments are, for how much money would be available outside of existing obligations.
Can you tell me at this time, after the 8 years, what would be available at the 33 mills?
About $1 million a year.
Okay.
In the beginning in 2026.
Now, the 4 million, we would have to
You would
raise
have to,
millage.
you would have to raise millage.
But we have that level within our borrowing capacity that we can do. Okay.
$4 million a year.
If you think about it as your limit, so it's $4 million, it depends on how you structure the repayment. Obviously, if you structured to have the whole $4 million repaid in 1 year, you would have a very significant tax increase, and I don't think that would be something that would be desirable or something that you would want to do. But obviously those are numbers we could run for you.
So there would be different structures of payment, is what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
During that, but up to $4 million.
If you borrowed that full $4 million, if you did decide I want that full $4 million now, you could issue a resolution for that. You could forego having $500,000 a year for a period of 8 years. Over that period of time, when you paid that $4 million, probably a little bit more than that back over time. So it's a delicate balance.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one more quick question. I'm hoping you will tell me, yes, sir, I can find it for you. There's no grants or anything that we can apply for that you know of?
I'm not in the grant business. I'm in the debt issuance business, and so I'm not aware of the grants.
Okay, I'm sorry, Candace.
I just got one question I want to ask. Okay, so if the first two referendums were good, what's the problem with doing another bond referendum?
I agree.
There would be, you tell us what the needs are, put it together. I would tell you, just from sitting here tonight, what I saw, I would like to see a lot more unity with the board or with the people here. That way, it would be something that would be able to be passed. If you've got division, I don't know if you're going to be able to get community support, but that's just my 2 cents.
Basically, the only way for us to get a new school is through a bond referendum, because we don't have
it. You needed a new facility, yes, sir.
I don't think that problem is gonna exist with the public, because I don't think that they've had a real big problem with it. I don't think that that's gonna be a problem with the public, because I don't think it's had a major impact on our finances. The bond referendum that we have used in the past, I haven't heard anyone say, oh, we did that bond referendum, now I'm trying to struggle to pay anything. I think the biggest problem, the biggest issue that I would see is us coming together to look at whether or not we like to do a bond
If we did a referendum, that would be something that would need to be on the ballot in November, or is it?
2018. You actually can have a special election. You can have a bond referendum in the spring and the summer. We have recently, I say recently, over let's say the last 10 years, which in my career is recent, that referenda can be successful in general elections, because a lot of people are coming out to vote. Sometimes in a special election, your more anti-people come out to vote. But if y'all are thinking in terms of amounts that you need that would need or justify a referendum, we'd be glad to come back and do a workshop with y'all to walk through exactly what you, the board, would need to do, the do's and don'ts of a referendum. That's very important now. So if we could just work with Mr. Park and have an idea of what amounts that you might be thinking of, Mike could run some numbers, and we'd be glad to come back and do a workshop for y'all at your
I don't think we
convenience.
need to vote on that, but I think that would be a very good idea, a workshop, and let them run the numbers by us, if everybody agrees with that.
I just, you're probably gonna say I don't know. But, I don't know, where did I get the number that we had an 8 million, debt limit? Where did I get that number?
8%.
Okay. I thought
8%.
someone had used that number before for us.
The 8 number is used where we say your 8% debt limit, and sometimes people might think that they have, that means 8 million, but it's 8% of the assessed value of the taxable property in the school district, or in this case, of school district and the county. And a couple of things about using your 8% capacity. Right now, between your installment purchase, revenue bond payments, and your annual payments, y'all borrow that money in 1 year, in like September, it goes on the tax bills in October, it's paid off in March. So that amount is constantly recycled. And if you were looking at, say, you needed $3 million for roofs for a number of schools or things like that, we would really encourage that you think in terms of a short-term repayment, because you only have one 8% constitutional debt limit. And if you were to borrow that a significant amount of your debt limit and take 15 years to pay it back, you are not recapturing that debt limit. You are not getting the credit back. And we always like for a school district to keep enough debt limit in case there was a problem. If Matthew came in instead of at Hilton Head, if it had come in, in Horry County, and y'all had roofs gone, and you're waiting for FEMA and negotiating with insurance companies, and you might need to go to the market and borrow immediately to fix your problem. So we never want a school district to be without some credit that they can hit, that they can go to if they need it.
It's very good advice.
Ms. O'Nation?
That has been the reason that we've been dealing with the 4 million, because of all the loans we've had and the different things in the payoff. My question would be, if we wanted 2 or 3 million and we have the 500,000 a year, do you see that as something we can pay off relatively quickly?
If you were to do that, there would be the associated tax increase.
Period. You're going to have that, right? Okay. Thank you.
But we'd be glad when we come back for a workshop, Mike can bring numbers that show with a referendum, without a referendum. We'd be glad to provide that information.
Mr. Coachman.
I'd like to make a motion that we like Mr. Fannie Hauser to come back and we set a date for a workshop for a possible bond referendum to look at renovation or the possibilities of some finances for building a new school here in the Bentonville area.
Y'all second?
Is there any discussion?
I call for the question.
All right. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Thank y'all. We'll work on a date.
Thank you. All right. Next, list of law offices for board interviews, Mr. Artemus Woods.
The listening, do we have the list? I called Ms. Morrison, gave her some names. Did she provide that with the board?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
In the packet?
Look right after the minutes, at the end of the minute. On page where it was. Here it is. Here you find it.
Madam Chair, I would like for us to try to schedule the names that are listed on this item to schedule a date for interviews for these law firms.
That's the motion.
That's the motion.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. There was no discussion.
I'm sorry, I didn't speak up quick enough. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing here. Just
right.
give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. So what you want me to do is to set up interviews with these gentlemen or these law offices for our law services for when? You want immediate turnover, or you want?
Mr. Jurgens.
Okay.
We made an agreement that we had hired Mr. Child on a month-to-month basis. We all agreed that we were going to set up interviews to try to hire a school district law firm, okay? And we just setting up interviews to interview to see who we want to choose to be our attorney.
Okay, but
I think that isn't exactly what we agreed.
No, that is what we discussed. Don't, no, that is what we discussed.
Where we at? Discuss it if I can. I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is what you want to do is interview these.
We have to interview them, and then we have to decide who we want to use, and then we can determine when they'll start.
Okay, so all of that is still to be determined. All you want to do is talk to these individuals.
It says interview them. That's what we agreed to do.
I mean, right now we at a point where we really need our representation to know what's going on within our county. And
it ain't said nothing about.
I'm not interested in changing anything right now.
It ain't said anything about changing. It said what we said we were going to do as a board. That's what we said we were going to do.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm just trying to make clarification. That's what you're talking about.
Mr. Coachman?
Well, first of all, the attorney that we have here now, he's on retainer.
Right.
He has not been hired. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct.
Well, when did we hire him?
He is part of, we have gone over this and over it. He is part of the Duff firm.
So, okay, all right. So Duff changed firms. Is that correct?
No.
Yes.
So therefore, he was no longer our attorney.
Do you want to make a motion?
I have some discussion.
There's a motion.
Okay, Mr.
I mean, I got no problem going through this process of doing interviews, but, I mean, and this is next week, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't put the date up there now.
Do what?
I didn't choose a date.
Okay. I mean, these days are bad for me because I'm out of town next week.
Well, days were bad for me. Long as y'all told me, long as you got a quorum, you can have a meeting.
Well, I'm just one person, so, you know.
That's right. But now this is a workshop. This is not a meeting, correct?
No, this is the interview process.
Well, it would be a workshop for the interviews. I mean, is that?
It's amazing that we all on this board know that Dave Duff and White dissolved and he started a new law firm. We agreed to hire them on a month-to-month basis. Then we came in a meeting and said that we hire them on a month-to-month basis, and then we say later we'll do a workshop or interview to interview other lawyers. They get on a month-to-month basis. So why all of a sudden now everybody they don't know what we're talking about?
Well, I never said I didn't know what we were talking about.
Well, there's no problem.
Mr. Woods.
Like I say, I'm just one person. So
Mr. Woods.
The majority wants to meet next week.
We're just going to follow Reverend Eddie Davis's lead. There are going to be some changes on this board. And so do what you do, but there are going to be some changes. Somebody's going home. And it's not going to be me.
Not yet.
And that is a promise. So let it go, Woods. Let it go, okay?
All right. So.
Let it go. Forget it.
Okay, I call for the question if everybody's finished discussion.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, it's Ms. Fleming, are you voting?
I'm abstaining.
All right, so keep your hands up, please.
Well, what are we? Can you state the motion so that everybody can know what we're voting on? 'Cause
No, it's Mr. Wood's motion.
make the motion, repeat your motion, Mr.
Made a motion that we meet with these candidates to interview them for the potential of coming our law firm for Marlboro County School District, to meet with them on August the 14th for interviews.
All right, there's a second. Who seconded?
I did.
All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. And so Ms. Bright, Mr. Coachman, and Ms. Fleming, and Mr. Woods are in favor. All opposed?
Opposed.
Mr. Branch?
My hand's not up.
All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so the vote fails.
I'm abstaining.
I know, it's still.
So,
I mean, I just wanted to.
Okay.
let me get this straight. So now we're not going to search for an attorney. We basically just going to let him continue on, or we have hired him, or y'all have hired him, because I don't recall us hiring him.
I thought he was, isn't he our attorney?
They got the hit.
I'll make a motion that we hire Duff and Childs, the law firm of Duff and Childs.
To continue.
I'm just going to do it. I'm going to.
It's not on the agenda.
Well, we're talking about list of law offices for board
They
interviews.
want, they got the votes. Let's not waste any time here. Let's not play games. We are adults here. We see the deal. We know what you're going to do. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure it out.
Are you our attorney? Do I need to make this?
Please try to keep some level of decorum.
Madam Chairman, we have an attorney. I don't think I need to make that a motion, and we know what y'all are playing at too. So I'm going to withdraw that motion.
Who is y'all, Miss Barbara? Miss Onazian, who's y'all? Are you quiet now? Who's y'all?
I can't hear you, darling, with all that noise. I can't hear
No,
you.
don't bang.
It's selective hearing. You hear what you want to hear. As long as you say what you want is fine. But we know the deal. We know the deal. And you're going home in 18 months. And it may be sooner.
Madam Chairman, could you please take control of this meeting? I
will try to.
Okay. Oh, you're going to control me?
Who's more out of control, the audience or Ms. Fleming?
Come on.
Where are we here?
We're at your
thing. All right. Next, I'd like for us to develop a plan to systematically provide maintenance of schools so that they can be brought up to standards, starting with roofs, etc. And so the first item is for us to think about who should be on a committee, and during that time, if the school district can come up with the assessments that have already been done.
Madam Chair.
I think the maintenance director should come up with a plan instead of us.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Well, when they bring to us the list of things that have to be done, financing is involved, so we have to get involved. If we sit back and let happen what's been happening, we'll have roofs that are in disrepair, etc. So, would you all please give that some thought? And
Madam Chair, I think that Mr. McLeod, that comes under his umbrella. And I just, as Mr. Branch has said, that's not something that I know what needs to be done and how it should be done. And I often, he is, whomever it is, maybe it's not Mr. McLeod, but if it's under his umbrella, let him come to us and tell us, and then if we want to form a committee. But I just don't think that I want to go to a school to decide how it needs to be cleaned, because I don't know the criteria that the state requires for something of that nature. Whomever is over that department, they know. Let them bring it to the board.
Well, what they know now is when we were doing the self-assessment during the SACS thing, we were shown films of roofs and flashing that was in disrepair.
Right.
There's a fascia board out here on the high school that has been in disrepair for over a year now. And I brought up the subject of why has this roof not been repaired. The statement was made by Dr. McLeod that it was damaged during Matthew. And the statement was made by him, well, we're not going to repair the roof because we need a new school. Well, we've just heard we don't have the money to go out and build all new schools when a roof. Please address the subject and tell us what
Madam
you said.
Chair,
Yes.
the roof that you were talking about was down at School of Discovery.
That's correct.
And I said that with the reconfiguration, when we were planning to get the children out of that school, there was no need to put money in that building if you were going to move them out of that building.
Well, you actually said that we needed a new school.
We do.
We do.
We do.
But we don't have the money for it.
Well,
What I would
but
like
that's
for
not-
us to do.
But we still need it. But
Well,
but
what
but
I would
but
like
that's
to
what
see
I,
happen.
But that's what I said, ma'am.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. What I would like to see happen is for us to have a systematic approach to doing capital improvements, and it apparently is not happening. And so I think it's this board's responsibility to put in place whatever we need to see that it does happen. And so I'd like to bring that up again next month
You're going to undermine our everybody that you're saying that you're pretty much saying that the secretary, she was incompetent. Now the head of this department is incompetent. Come on, Ms. Parson, let's.
I did not say incompetent.
Well, you insinuate that. You know, you give the impression that we can't do this. This is not what a board's supposed to be doing. And I don't know, and I think you're overstepping your bounds very, very much here, and you're throwing me into it. And I'm not going to be drawn into it.
Then, Dr. Lane, can you bring us next month a plan for bringing the schools up to us?
Dr. Lane is the superintendent. What's wrong with the person that's getting paid to do that job?
Ms. Fleming, I am to correctly speak with Dr. Lane about it. It's Dr. Lane's job to get that done. Let's just move on. Go ahead, Dr. Lane.
Thank you. And what we'll do, we'll ask Dr. McLeod and his staff to generate that list, and we'll be happy to bring it next month, hoping that once we bring the list, you, the members of the board, will begin to look at the financial aspect of it. But Dr. McLeod and his team will generate a list of items that need to be addressed to move our district forward so far as maintenance is concerned.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Madam Chairman,
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Bright.
Don't we already have a list of what repairs are needed? I mean, we had studies done. Don't we already have those lists?
Well, can you give them to us again? And let's look at it next month.
Okay, so we already have the list. We basically, okay, what we going to do when we look at them? Because
we have what we want to do and how we're going to pay for it. If we don't fund it, it doesn't happen.
Exactly, but my problem is this. We've had those lists. We have those lists. We know what needs to be done. Don't we need to just be given some direction of what, asking Mr. West what monies we have?
Exactly. That's why I want to bring that to the table next month for everybody to discuss it and figure out what path we need to take.
All right,
if we don't put it as an item, then it won't happen.
Madam Chairman, just want to interject here.
Yes.
We've got Bennettsville Intermediate School that we must deal with as a high priority. And we've got the School of Discovery with its roof problems that we must deal with. I'd like Dr. McLeod to take a look at those two so that if we've got some money or have a portion of it, that we can at least begin that process. Right. I believe Mr. Brown is to bring back to us the proposed costs for the roofs at Bennettsville Intermediate School. I don't want to get bogged down in, I'd like to move forward on those two issues at least, and any other emergencies that Dr. McLeod sees that we have. We've talked about windows at the School of Discovery. We've talked about the roof. Bennettsville Intermediate School, we're supposed to have reports within 2 weeks, according to the minutes, as to the cost for repairing the roof and any other issues that we need to deal with at BIS.
Right.
The cleaning, I understand, is going well, but that's not going to stop the water from leaking into the building, and that's where we need to go. So my suggestion would be that that would be a very top priority for our children there, our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. We don't want them having any problems.
My thoughts exactly, but we already know that those problems exist.
Right.
Okay, so we need to be asking Mr. Parks, where is money, what monies he have that we can apply to those problems. We don't need to keep getting a list over and over and over again. We know those problems are there, and we already know what needs to be repaired.
Well, that's what I'm
Perhaps I should have
saying.
stated
So
it
Dr.
differently, Ms.
McLeod can
Bright.
probably get that information for us. He can just talk to Mr. Parks, see what have we got to do those things. It just seems kind of straightforward to me.
Bottom line is, what I'm asking us to do is take action. Bottom line.
That's good. That's good. I'm for taking action.
All right. Ms. Reverend Woods.
Several months, and since I've been on this board, they've been bringing us lists and lists and lists by the condition of these buildings, and we're always saying now we want to find money to do something to the buildings. I goes out to BIS school, just walk through it, and we got a principal office carpet full of water. and we want our kids to go into this kind of condition, our staff, we need to stop talking and go ahead and get the thing done, because they already got the list of what need to be prepared, and we talking about the money, and we sit here talking about what need to be done. We've been talking about this for several months about the condition of these buildings, and we go out and spend $86,000 to clean up the school, but then you got water going inside of a principal office. So what's more important to us? Sit here and keep talking about what need to be done. We already know what need to be done. It need to get done. They deserve better than this. We've been talking about this for over and over and over and over again. It need to get done.
There is no price. There is no price that we shouldn't be afraid of paying when it comes to our children.
Absolutely not. So we're expecting estimates for doing the repairs. Mr. McLeod, do we have those estimates as yet? For the repair to Bennettsville Intermediate School, do we have estimates for repair of that roof?
We don't have those yet.
Okay. Has anyone been out there to look to make a determination? Have we had that happen yet?
Yes, ma'am.
They have looked, but they have not given us an estimate as yet. So anything you can do to hurry that up?
No, because they take their time with those.
To do it?
If you can.
Thank you.
Human
Thank you, Dr.
Resources,
McLeod.
makeup days for the 2017-18 extended calendar. Dr. Cobb.
Excuse me a minute, Dr. Cobb. Ms. Parsons, can we not have another meeting so we can go ahead and get this rolling?
Sure, but he doesn't have the what I'm asking for is a workable, complete set of information, not a list here and a promise of the cost, but the facts laid out so that we can make a decision and vote to do whatever we decide to do.
Okay, so who are you giving direction to get that?
Dr. Lane.
Okay, so Dr. Lane, you're going to make sure when we come back in September that we have what we need to move forward.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Ms. Parson, I recall probably 2 meetings back, Mr. Brown, along with our attorney there, and that was when our mold person was here. They sit there and they must have called off several different firms, several, meaning more than 3, that this person was going to do this person was going to do that, and this was going to do that. I asked them, I said, well, see, can you get Osher? Nothing was heard. Now, that has been almost 3 months. Here we are now, still doing this. I don't know, but what that group, they talked about it that night, and that had to be 3 meetings back, which is 3 months ago, and here we are today. Those 3 guys stood right there and made all the plans, called the firms who's going to do this. You mentioned Brothers, this, that, and all different people that did this type of work. And here school is opening, but in 2 weeks, and we have got nothing done. And the children are going back in that dirty, filthy, smelly place.
What school are you?
I'm talking about BIS.
I'm talking about the whole district.
Well, I'm talking about that, and I'm talking about BIS. Now, so that's what the plan, those guys stood right there. And I'm thinking, Mr. Charles don't need to be in here. He is not the one to be negotiating who does the work for us, but I said nothing about it, and nothing has been done.
Ms. Fleming, we are moving on.
Fine. And
well, I want to make one statement. Perhaps now that we've instructed Dr. Lane, our interim superintendent, to pursue it, maybe we'll move forward now and find out that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Driggers. We've moved to makeup days for the 2017-18 extended calendar. Dr. Cobb.
You have in your board packet makeup days for 2017-18 extended calendar. That's for the McCall School. McCall Elementary Middle missed 2 days, July 19th and 20th, due to a water leak in the building, and the administration for McCall has relegated September the 20th and the 21st for those makeup days, and we're asking the administration to approve the 2 makeup days for McCall Elementary Middle School.
So you want to vote?
Yes.
Madam Chairman, move to accept the administration's recommendation regarding the makeup days at McCall.
Second.
All right. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed? Ms. Fleming, what are you doing?
I'm abstaining.
All right. Everyone voted for it. Ms. Fleming abstained, and the motion is carried. And now the Board of Education meeting schedule for 2017-18.
You have a copy of the regular scheduled board meetings for 2017 in your packet, needing a vote for those meetings.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the dates as presented to us for school board meetings, 2017, 2018.
Second. Is that Ms. O'Nation? Second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed?
I'm abstaining.
I can't tell where people are voting. Raise your hand again.
If you give me
If you're in favor. So it's Mr. Coachman, Mr. Branch, Mr. Driggers, Ms. Parsons, Mr. Norton, Mr. Reverend Woods, Ms. O'Nation. And all opposed?
If you give me a second, I'm trying to see what,
I need to
date
rush
this
you.
March 26th is.
Sorry about that.
Are we dealing with any Easter holidays like we ran into last year, or any election dates, anything like that?
Hang on just a second, Ms. Pearson. You with us? Okay. And Ms. Bright just joined us voting in favor. Thank you, Ms. Bright. Ms. Fleming, are you still abstaining?
I am.
Ms. Fleming is abstaining, and the motion is carried. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Cobb. Mr. Park, you're up. And we need approval of second and final reading of the fiscal year 17-18 budget. And Mr. Park, could you please tell us what you and I discussed this morning, the issue of there's nothing wrong with us discussing something. What in the world? It's insane. Some board members had asked if it was possible to increase the compensation for retiree teacher assistants.
Classified.
All classified. All classified. All classified or retired classified? Retired classified.
All retired.
Retired classifieds would go to 14 years experience. Have you implemented that in this budget?
There is a contingency of $173,908.37. If the desire is to move all classified to 14 years of experience, the cost of that is $47,929.
So well
which would
within
go
that
to
contingency.
reduce the contingency. Yes, ma'am.
So this would give all, in essence, this would give all retirees the 14 years.
If the desire is to do that, that's the cost for the classified, and then if you wanted to do the same for the other certifieds that are not classroom teachers, that cost is $29,709. But the combination of those two amounts would be within the district contingency. It's included.
Now, when you say other administration, do you mean?
I mean, those would be individuals like guidance counselors, principals, etc. Those that are not classified as teachers, although they are certified staff.
And what about retired administrators?
That is included in that.
That's included in
number.
that, okay.
Would we need to vote on that specifically before we vote on the budget?
Well, if you can include that with the...
In the motion?
With the motion.
Okay.
I got a
Because
question.
I have included all the other...
Okay.
All the other requests that we had.
All right, Ms. Bright.
Okay, my question is this, and no disrespect to anyone, okay, but could that money be applied to fixing some of these schools that these children are going to, so that it doesn't rain on their head?
Whatever the desire of the board is, of course, we typically use other type of funding to provide for renovations
But
and
right now,
capital
we're in a
maintenance.
desperate situation to get these schools repaired for these children to go back to school. So I want to know, could we use that particular set of money for the schools?
Mr. Gallagher had mentioned previously, there's about $500,000 that's a part of the capital maintenance that's already included within the budget. So
doing this won't keep us from being able to do Bennettsville Intermediate School,
Yeah, and
correct?
see, my problem is this here. We had like $1 million left, no, BIS auditorium was $1 million. We had money left over from Wallace that we was gonna apply to BIS, it never got there. We had money from Blenheim that we was gonna apply to BIS, it never got there.
let me clarify that in both of those schools, we had costs that there was not additional proceeds left from either of those projects to be able to address any other schools.
So there was no money.
So we used the full amount of the borrowing to pay for the cost of construction, as well as additional renovations at those schools, or not renovations, but additional construction.
Okay. You know, I'm a penny pincher, and I take every bit. I put a little bit here, I put a little bit here, I put a little bit there, and when I get enough, I do my projects. You know, so I'm just saying, you know, we're doing everything else, and we're getting around fixing these schools. I'm just saying my 2 cents.
I'd like
and
to.
if that money could be applied to fixing the leak, so it doesn't rain inside the principal office, or to cleaning the mold at this particular point in time, that's what I would like for the funds to be applied to. That's just me. That's
Whatever wishes of the board.
I think several of us were concerned about the people who work just as hard as the teachers, but they're paid significantly less. Teachers make a livable wage, and there's some people in the district that are paid so little for the work they do that they can't make it. And we're trying to, we'll still be able to do the construction stuff, but we are trying to make the people who make the very lowest amounts, the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers, the classified folks who make the children's day better.
We need to prioritize.
Yeah.
And right now is not the time for the increase. We need to prioritize. And right
well,
now,
that's what we're saying that we want to do.
Okay, because I know
salaries.
not long ago, Dr. Tiller gave everybody in the district a raise. We raised teachers, we raised everybody in this district got a raise. We put people on the level comparable to other counties. Did we not do that?
There were some discrepancies in that.
There was
but we did that, right?
Am I correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the salary study.
There was a salary study that was implemented, and of course, the teacher scale is set by the state. We do provide a $1,000 supplement to the teachers, and we do follow the required annual increase with the step, and of course, those are reflected in the salary schedules that we have.
Now, I don't have a problem with this, okay? I just have an issue with prioritizing, okay? So I don't want nobody to think that I don't want you to get your extra money. You know, I have a problem with prioritizing and doing what needs to be done first.
I have a real problem. We have been talking about this budget since March, and we've been each month, and we finally got to the point where we just stopped. Now, tonight, they say vote on it, and there's too many issues in the air for me to feel comfortable with. It's going to pass. I know it's going to pass, but I don't like it. We know what we want, we know we have the votes to get it, and that's what's going to happen. I don't like it. So I can go right now and go on record. I am not supporting this budget because it has not been discussed fully. We have our separate people, our agenda we want to take care of, and anybody else that's not a priority, which is the children, is not a priority. Vote whatever you want to, but never in this life will I vote for this.
So, Ms. O'Nation, is there any other discussion? Excuse me.
Yes, I had my hand up several times.
I forgot, after all.
I figured that. I have no problem in making sure that we take care of our students or employees. The problem I have with the statement that you made earlier, that several of them contact you. Yeah. I think it's 9 of us on this board, and you know, let me finish. Don't cut me off. You said several board members contact you about this, about raising and taking care of classified and retirees. Now, if that's the case, if they contact you, due respect, you should have made sure that all the board members know about that information. And that is some of our problem. We don't communicate. We don't get the information to people like we need to. Just like the statement was made in the paper that all board members knew about what happened. I take exception to that. What the Marlboro Herald read about all board members know what went down on July 24th. Don't speak for me because if I know something, I'm man enough to say I know it. Just like tonight, you just said, you contact Mr. Park, several board members. If you're going to be the board chair, make sure you communicate with everybody else.
When we vote,
it ain't about the vote, it's about communication. It's about you being the board chair. If someone contact you, you should have enough respect for every board member to allow them, let them know about information that's going on, and you fail to do that. And all the time. That's why we got so much dissension. Because you don't communicate with everybody. You communicate who you want to communicate, leave everybody else out. And that's what you do.
Whatever.
I know whatever. I know whatever.
You know.
Madam Chairman, if we could get a motion on board, then we could have additional discussion if we wanted to.
Let me ask one other question. Is the budget balanced?
Yes, sir, it is.
With these additions and with these increases, the budget is balanced?
Yes, sir.
And I guess the motion needs to have specifically in it that we want to raise the classifieds to 14.
Are you saying all retirees at 14 years?
All retirees at 14 years.
Right.
Yes. You
That
said
we're looking at.
You could balance it at that. Then let's treat everybody equally unfair.
What about treating the children equally unfair?
People make the school, not the building.
That's right.
Madam Chairman, as Mr. Coachman asked, is it balanced? There's 155 pages in our packet that goes through every item in the budget, every single item. It's an excellent question. Is it balanced? It is an increase from last year of $890,923. But with the reconfiguration that we have now, we still have a balanced budget. There's been a monumental effort on the part of the staff to balance that, and I appreciate that very much. We're sharing teachers, we're acting wisely and efficiently for the benefit of all. I want to thank you for your work on doing that.
Certainly.
We have had increases both in the pension amount that we need to pay and in the health insurance amount we need to pay, as well as an increase in what we pay our teachers. So we are trying to do the best by all of our family here at Marlboro County. So I would make a motion that we approve the budget in the amount that for 2017 through 2018 in the amount of $32,938,612. That budget to include the use of contingency funds in the amount, it looks to me, if my numbers are right, $77,638 to cover all retirees in this district to be paid at a level of 14 years experience if they qualify for that.
I'll second.
I think that's it.
Is there any further discussion?
So I just want to be clear on this. We're going to use $77,000 out of the contingency fund to pay for the increase for the retirees at 14 years.
Yes, sir.
that's part of the motion.
Yes, sir. That is already included in the budget, but we're pulling that from a contingency fund.
Contingency.
How much do we have in the contingency fund?
$173,908.37.
So that's gonna leave us about like 90-something thousand.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of close call for a whole year, I know.
And I know we've gone through budgets before without contingencies, and we've tried to do everything we can to reduce costs as we go. One of the things we have right now, we do have vacancies. A lot of times it takes a little time to fill vacancies. We're probably going to find ourselves in situations where we're having to cover positions that we cannot hire. So there are things like that. One thing we've seen in the past is particularly insurance expenses end up being less because those folks may start with us at the beginning of the year, so they're not eligible for benefits immediately. So there are other things that actually lead into contingency. And of course, last year we finished in the FY 14-15 year, we finished with a budget surplus. We're
That's
hoping
great.
to do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, call for questions, somebody?
Discussion, anybody?
Call for the question.
I call for the question.
All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, it's Ms. O'Nation, Mr. Norton, Ms. Parsons, Mr. Driggers, and Mr. Branch in favor. All opposed? Ms. Fleming is opposed. All abstaining? Ms. Bright, Reverend Woods, and Mr. Coachman are abstaining. And the motion is carried. Congratulations, Mr. Park. All right, now, Ms. Heiser, authorization of general obligation bonds.
Good evening again. As we discussed, y'all have before you tonight the resolution that authorizes your annual borrowing. The total amount would be not exceeding $1,790,000. Of that amount, it is largely your installment purchase revenue bond payments together with the approximately $500,000 for your annual capital maintenance and technology. I'd be glad to answer any questions, but this is sort of your annual business as usual. And we'll do this for maybe 8 more years, and then the installment purchase will be paid off, and you'll have more revenue available for your ongoing current capital needs.
So we're needing to issue the sale for this $1,790,000.
Correct.
Is that right?
Motion?
I move that we accept this, be it resolved.
Correct. You can just make a motion to adopt the resolution as presented in your board packet.
That's what I'm going to say. I make a motion to adopt the resolution as listed in our packet.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. And Ms. Fleming, what are you doing?
I'm abstaining.
All right, and everyone else is voting for, Ms. Fleming is abstaining. And the
Thank
motion
you,
is
and we'll
carried.
see y'all
Thank you very
shortly
much.
for a workshop.
Thank you so much for waiting so long.
All right, Dr. McLeod, school video surveillance system.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Lane, as you see in your packet, that was prepared by Mr. Jimmy Tu, there's an estimate of what the cost would be to do those 4 schools. In addition to that, I would like to make you aware that the system over at BIS is completely down, and also the one here at the high school needs extensive renovation.
Is that in addition to what you're sharing with
That would
us
be
here?
in addition to that.
Do you have any general figures at all for doing that?
Yes, ma'am, but we gave you as general figure as we could without disclosing those exact figures that the vendors gave us. That, in other words,
That would be improper.
that would be improper to put their exact figures in there. So
Right.
we gave you the range.
Right.
But I can assure you for those 4 schools that those bids would probably be less.
Okay. Any questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
Is this for information? We don't know how.
Yeah,
Wait a
so
minute.
information on it.
This is for information only.
Okay, I missed that.
Do-
We would like y'all to look at recommendation number 1.
Identify an appropriate funding source.
Correct.
Do we have any funding sources, Dr. McLeod, that this could come out of?
Check with Wes.
Okay.
It can be a part of, this is considered technology that can be a part of it.
Part of the 500,000, but we need, I agree with Ms. Bright that we need to prioritize here, and I don't really, I want surveillance, I want them to be safe, but I want the roofs fixed, so I think maybe we need to identify that source before we decide what to do. And
bring that back to you in our
yes,
at the next meeting.
would you do that, please, and once we have that information on what it's going to cost us to fix that school? Thank you, Mr. McLeod.
McLeod. Mr. Parks?
We need to be mindful that we need to keep the safety of the children first at all times. So that's something we really need to move with.
Financial report as of July 19th,
Yes.
2017.
You have the financial report as of July 19th, 2017. I don't know if there's any questions at this point in time. Of course, the report is based on the prior year annual budget because we were at that point in time operating under a continuing resolution, which now has changed.
Yeah, changed.
Any questions?
I just want us to,
Mr. Norton?
now, with the new budget and working under the resolution, any teachers or so forth, if any changes, there would be a reimbursement on that to reflect the new budget. Am I making sense?
The only issue there is because of the fact that when I think about it, McCall starting early, there will be, if we make the salary schedules retroactive instead of effective as of tonight, then we would make those adjustments to those retired teachers. The other schedules, it would be more than just retired teachers, it would be retirees in general. So we'll have to address that,
But it's
during
figured in, so.
Yes.
The vote wasn't for retroactive pay.
I think what the understanding is that those schedules were effective as of July 1. Is that the consensus of the board?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Not mine.
You don't want them to have more pay?
Ms. Lucy, don't play those games with me, okay? I don't nitpick with none of y'all. Don't play those games with me, all right? I don't pick with y'all. Don't play those games with me. And that's not what I said, that I didn't want them to have the money. Okay, I want money too. So do you. Okay, but I'm saying we need to prioritize and get the safety of the kids first. And health issues is part of safety. That's what I'm saying. I didn't say anything about that. Don't pick with me. There's enough tension already in this room. Don't pick with me. I don't do picking easy. I don't do it. Okay? Don't pick with me. I don't pick on y'all. I don't. Snobby. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Any
Park,
questions?
again. Thank you very much.
All right, the district update, the superintendent's report, district updates, and presentation of board achievement awards. Dr. Lane.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all of you. First of all, let me mention that, as you know, McCall Elementary Middle has been in session for a while because they
Can you get a little close to the mic? Can you get a little close to the mic, Dr. Lane, so we can hear you?
Thank you, Mr. Coach.
Pull your mic up.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. As I was saying, first of all, we we realize that McCall Elementary Middle has been in session for a number of weeks now, and they're doing quite well. But we are anxiously anticipating the return of the teachers to our traditional schools, the ones that are not on the year-round schedule. And one of the things we have planned for them, as we have done every year, is the annual convocation. And each of you will be getting an official invitation. It is scheduled for August 16th, and we're looking forward to a grand time, and we hope that each of you that can will join us on that day. As always, the emphasis and the focus is going to be on the children. We've got over 4,200 students in our district, and we are determined that each and every one of them are going to receive the absolute best when it comes to instructional services and instructional activities. Secondly, I'd like to mention that, of course, we all have heard about the historical eclipse, and I'm pleased to announce that our curriculum team will be providing for all of our teachers information that they can utilize the first 2 days of school to make sure that as our young people are home on the 21st, that they've been brought up to date and up to speed on some of the kind of things that they will need to know to be safe, as well as be aware of what the eclipse is. Additionally, we'll be sending material homes to parents that will help them understand how to make sure that their families are safe as they attempt to view this historical event. I'd also like to share with each of you, Ms. Fleming, a copy of the, thank you, of the open house school orientation calendar for this year, and while each of you will be getting, again, a personal invitation, I'd really like to invite you, if you can, to visit the schools during these times. Bennesville Intermediate will have open house on August 15th. Bennesville Primary also on August 15th, as well as Blenheim, Clio, the School of Discovery, and Wallace Elementary. The high school has indicated several days that they will have open house. Seniors on August 7th, and juniors and sophomores on August 8th, juniors and sophomores again on the 9th, and yes, the great freshman orientation on August 10th. Last but not least, please visit at AMI Kids Infinity on August the 10th and on the 11th. We know you have very engaging and busy schedules, but if you are free, please join us at these sites on these days. And last but not least, I'd like to invite some of you to come forward. We have some certificates for you from the Boardsmanship Institute. We have some level 3 and some level 4 achievement board members, and I'll be very pleased to present you with your certificates and also your pen. And if you will remain standing so we can get a picture of this, we certainly appreciate it. Reverend Timus Woods, will you come forward, please? He's a level 3 boardsman person.
What does level 3 mean for the board member, school board member? The citizens might want to know what the achievements mean.
Thank you, Mr. Coach. And let me read this so I make sure that I do not leave anything out. Established in 1982, the School Boards Association Boardmanship Institute offers a year-round training curriculum focused on leadership skills for board members on state and national educational issues. Board members are recognized for reaching each of 6 levels. So Reverend Woods has already reached at least the 3rd level, which means he's well on his way to becoming a full completer of this process. Again, congratulations, Reverend Woods. Thank you. Mr. Danny Driggers, another level 3 a board member. And I'm pleased to announce we have Mr. Micah Coachman. And ladies and gentlemen, he is a level 4 board member. Yes.
Hard work.
Yes. And we're very pleased to invite Ms. Janice Bright to come forward, another level 4 board member. Yes. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. All right, we need to go into executive session for personnel matters.
Ms. Parsons. I'd like to ask Dr. Lane one question.
Sure.
If I could.
All right, Mr. Norton.
Dr. Lane, since you have been involved with this, I noticed in the paper that there are a lot of concerns about the statewide testing via computer, and that there's more districts than not are having very difficult times in meeting that regulation that we test by computer in the spring of this coming school year. We also had some concerns early on about ways of spending the money, that one-time money that we would have. So we need to, what's your prediction, if I can use that term, what's your prediction, your weather forecast as far as our responsibilities in the spring will be?
Excellent question, Mr. Norton, and I'm very pleased to advise, and I'm going to ask Mr. Toole and Ms. DeVito McCall to come forward. And as they're coming forward, let me share with you that our district staff have been working very, very hard and very diligently to get us ready, and we fully anticipate that when testing comes around this spring, we will be ready for online testing. But let's hear from our two experts, Mr. Toole and Ms. DeVito McCall.
Okay, I'm going to back up and give you a little history and maybe touch on a few things that Mr. Norton mentioned. If y'all remember, we came to y'all several months ago and said that we had applied for some grant money and we were awarded $1.5 million as a district as a whole to prepare us for online testing. And of course, the things that we have to look at when we're trying to say if we can test online is there's a couple things. You have to know how big is the window, how long are they going to give us to do the test. And I've heard numbers from 28 days down to 14 days. We've based our calculations on a 14-day window, which would be the most critical. And we're spending that money now preparing brand new labs throughout the district. There will be 15 brand new labs. Mr. Norton, there are 3 brand new labs in McCall right now that are already up operational. As soon as we get the labs in operation, we're allowing the schools to go ahead and use those labs for other purposes other than just testing at the end of the year. But that money is one-time money, and we think we'll have adequate amounts to get us to where we can do all standardized online testing within a 14-day window by May, when they're going to take May.
As far on an instructional aspect, we will have our students test online for their benchmark tests because we have these computer labs up and running. So we will have our students practice testing online with their benchmark tests. And of course, we've always tested online with MAP tests so that they will be prepared for testing online and understand the environment before they test in that.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you.
Very good, thank you.
All right. We need to go into executive session, personnel matters, contractual matters, new hires and/or resignations, high school petitions, and receipt of legal advice. Would someone please make a motion?
So moved, Madam Chairman, as listed. Do I need to repeat it?
Beg your pardon?
I'm moving to go into executive session.
I second.
For personnel matters, contractual matters, new hires and resignations, high school petitions, receipt of legal advice.
Thank you. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Ms. Fleming, how are you voting? That he get, that you get the figures on the BIS school and send it to us before the next meeting.
This is from the engineers, the roofing engineers. Mr. Brown, according to Dr. McLeod, has been doing that, but I want Dr. McLeod to have that information as well.
Okay.
But there are 3 or 4 that we needed estimates what we can do to repair.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, Dr. Cobb, well, there he is behind the podium. We have...
The administration recommends the approval of 3 elections.
Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move we accept the administration's recommendation of 3 elections. We're happy to have them.
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Everyone voted for, and Ms. Fleming is abstaining. And so now, Mr. Branch, would you please make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Right hand. Okay.
All in favor?
Wait a minute, Jeff.
All right, go ahead.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
They all.
And everybody voted for that unanimously.